Okay. Oh, very ethereal. How's everyone tonight? One, two, three, four, check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, a little bit different tonight. My name is Chris Quinlan and welcome to Melbourne Musos Facechook Live. Ooh. I'll bring them in later, the lovely ladies and the man whispering. There you go. As I said, my name is Chris Quinlan. Welcome to Melbourne Musos Facechook Live. I have a brush with destiny. Oh, I've got the triggers on and everything, but I'm going to take them out because tonight I'm going to talk brushes. I'm going to take you through the basics very quickly, which I've done before, but I'm going to do a couple of different things, and the triggers are there for a few drumming influences. Hey! Oh, they're out. Here we go. So, blah, 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 blah. Sorry, that was a reference to what's happened through the week. So, brushes. All right. I'm going to get stuck straight into it, I suppose. And what happens is with brushes, you get to do the horizontal as well as the vertical. And what goes on is that an American drummer who came out in the late 70s and did master classes and stuff, and it was a week-long thing at the College of the Arts. Whoever remember those days, back in the late 70s, before the College of the Arts had any kind of jazz improvisation course, they had summer courses, and I went to them. And there was a chap by the name of Ed Soph, who I actually roadied for a little while. That was my thing. My beloved 1970 Ford XY wagon got brought up at last week's gig with all the Moonshifter lads, and we all got together after after all the COVIDs. Not that it's after, it's still here, but at least we got together and said, how are we all doing? And my beloved Ford XY wagon bobbed up. And because I had this big-ass Ford XY wagon, I used to get asked to do roadie stuff. And I've met some wonderful people. And Ed Soph, I drove around for a fair bit. Those who remember or know who Ed Soph is. And he showed me these two brush patterns. Okay. First of all, you have ovals, and for both hands. So that's what you get. You pick a point. You pick a point with your numbers, your beats. This is why I've got this camera here, not boot cam. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I tend to do the right hand over and the left hand under. You see? There you go. And what I do is 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll slow it down. 1, 2 to 3, 4 to 1, 2 to 3. Hi-hat. There you go. See, get the idea there. Ooh, gets trance-like. Ooh. And there you go. Now you can do that slow to medium. Once you get a bit quicker, it's like staying in third gear in your car. And when you want to go a bit quicker, you do the hand over hand. 1, 2. So the numbers would be here. Oh, it's going to be up on that camera there. I'm not going to cut with this camera. That's going to be in the bottom corner so that you can see it the whole time. And 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. So for me, you have the crotchets there. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. And then you do a little skip. 1, 2 to 3, 4 to 1, 2 to 3. 1, 2 to 3, 4 to 1, What are you doing with the rest of my wife? There you go. And then what you can start to do is get all these different things happening. Get a little bit linear. Linear means every note separate, so you have 1, 2, 3, 4, to 1, and 2, 3, 4, to 1. Bit of hi-hat play there, and that's what you can do. You see, that's what goes on. Now that's all your jazz kind of business. Geez, what's going on here tonight? Haven't had a problem in months. Hey, hello. And so what goes on? I'll cut that out later. Maybe I'll leave it in. There's your jazzy stuff, slow. What happens is your medium brush pattern is like you could either do the fast or the slow one fast, or you could do the fast one slow. But that's one of many. You've got people, I'm going to get to them in a second, but you've got some wonderful brush people. One of the great dudes is Clayton Cameron, who played with Tony Bennett. And he's like a brush master. But what goes on when you're doing things like this, don't forget the other styles that are within jazz. Now, like I said, brushes, you can do the vertical and the horizontal. So when you're playing normally, that's straight up and down, but you can get a bit of a swoosh with it, you know. You get a bit of a sideways kind of a thing. And then this brings in the kind of a Brazilian brush kind of deal that see, I'm doing a samba. And that was, you know, a bit of a half Latin bass drum. 1 and 2 and 3, 1 and 2 and 3, 1 and 2 and 3. I could bring it all in if you like. And then I could mix it up a bit. Oh yeah, there you go. Now I might bring in the triggers for a little bit here because I am doing sort of brushy business. Brushes really lend themselves in a jazz context to piano trios and things like that. Now what I've got there is a piano. I've got a little bit of echo on it. Now the patch I'm using is an E Mixolydian mode. I've done that. I had that up the other week. Ooh, flat 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, flat 7 to the octave. And then I'll take them out again. But one of the things that you can do, they're going to be in and out tonight. But one of the things I also like to do with brushes is a little thing called opposites attract. And what I mean by that is when you're playing brushes, it's not often that you get double kick. There it is there. You see? That's what happened. You have to be a bit more circumspect with the bass drum. Got to get it down to the level of the brush. Hey, put them back in. I've got a trigger down there with the flat 7. That's a D. That's an E. Now when I'm doing things like that, we can move into country. Hear the train a-rolling, oh down a bend. I don't see no sunshine since I don't know when I'm going. Should have been a chord change there, Chris. Going to San Antonio. Yeah! There it is, you see. So, once again, they're out. Oh, I'm doing quick changes here. There's a train beat. Cut time, you see. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. So, what I'm doing so far, a night with brushes. We have the jazz brushes, which everybody sort of knows. I've shied away. I very rarely play the typical first pattern where you're doing ovals with your left hand and just I tend to and there you have it. So there it is. And as I said, I learned that from a chap by the name of Ed Soph, American jazz drummer. Stan Kenton, big band, a few others. Dave Liebman. Anybody remember these names? Hello, audience. And what happens, what you can start to do is start to do little effects with them, you see, because with the brush, you have different nuances, you see. You just do the tip like that. You can roll them. Last night on my Facechook page, I put up a post called Meditation 2 by an American percussionist who I find quite phenomenal, Casey Cangalosi. And he's got a thing called Meditation 2. And it's everything to do with one stick and one brush. And what he does, it's just amazing. It's all written out. And it's just, go check it out, just on my Facebook page. I'll put up more of him. And then what happens with brushes? I've already mentioned Clayton Cameron with Tony Bennett. But you get so many different nuances. Put it back in now. Because two of my biggest influences with brushwork is when I was, starving jazz muso, still am. He's a chap by the name, I talked about him a while ago, not last year, earlier this year, Paul Motian. He's famous for playing with Bill Evans and Keith Jarret. And he would do all sorts of things with brushes, quite amazing. He'd play inside, outside the beat. Putting some hi-hats in different places. flash them, cheek them. Interplay between the brush and the left foot. And another drummer who I've mentioned doesn't get... These drummers don't get mentioned nearly enough. We all have our favourites, and everyone who always puts up the clips and all that, but these dudes have their own style, which is beautiful. And the other drummer that is probably a little bit obscure is Barry Altschul. And Barry Altschul is famous for playing with Chick Corea first and foremost. That's when I mentioned him. And Paul Bley, who's very big in the avant-garde scene. His wife Carla Bley is a wonderful composer. And it's like fluttering, you know, these kind of things. And now, what I'm going to do now is going to bring in someone else now, which is not part of the jazz genre so much. Regular watchers of the show know that I have a bit of a soft spot for minimalism, because repetitive phrases, because that's part and parcel of being a drummer. And that is Steve Reich. He's got an album called Different Trains, which I'm going to put up there, which I usually do. And for all intents and purposes, he's getting his strings to play a paradiddle. So stop there for a bit. And then what goes on then is that when we go back, it's nuance. You don't have to bang the protrusions out of it. Oh, yeah. Oh, no. I'm drumming. Oh, it's spoiled the mood now. And one of the other things about brushes, not as much bounce as a stick, so there's you've got to do a bit of a flick with your wrists and stuff. So when I was coming up, I'd take a set of brushes everywhere, and you can literally play them on anything, any kind of surface. So I used to play when I'm working in the old factory and things like that back in the day, after Dad retired from the pub, I just play on telephone books. There's Jeannie Krupa on is the Philadelphia story, where they're all having a jam in the hotel room, and Jean Krupa puts a telephone book up on the piano and just plays brushes on the telephone book. Start to wrap the show up. I've still got a bit more to do though. Let me go over everything. You've got your slow jazz pattern. Fast jazz pattern. There's just two of many. By the way, I've got over there. I've got a wonderful book of brush patterns. A book put out by Premier Drum Company back in the '60s, and it's the brush patterns of Philly Joe Jones, very famous American drummer, Miles Davis and the rest, and it's all angles, like. All different things. I've got to get back into it. I've got to pull it out and go and work it all out. I love that book. You know what I found? Where I found it? I struck gold. Lamberti Brothers. Who remembers that place? Oh, with the land. Anyway. Bought all the copies. Anyway, there you go. And then once you get into that, you can get into the more Latin style. So there it is, there's brushes. I haven't done brushes for a little while. And all your different things, the vertical and the horizontal, opposites attract. Whoever heard of double bass drum with brushes? Ah, love it. But tonight, there's also a bit of something I'd like to do. I've got a little patch set up here. I started the show with it. Pardon my indulgence with it. Just taking my time with it a little bit. Now, I'm going to wrap the show up. My name's Chris Quinlan. This is Melbourne Musos Facechook Live. And I haven't finished yet. This is what I'm doing. Oh, a few of my friends are a bit sad this week. Okay. Christine McVie of Fleetwood Mac passed away through the week. And this is a de facto tribute to her. And I will just read about her. Christine Ann McVie, 12th of July 1943 to 30th of November 2022, was an English musician and songwriter. She was principally known as a vocalist and keyboardist with the band Fleetwood Mac. I'll go down to a bit of a history. A member of several bands on the mid-60s British blues scene, notably Chicken Shack, she began playing with Fleetwood Mac in 1968. Initially as a contract session player before formally joining the band in 1970. She started to emerge as a songwriter by 1971, with her first compositions appearing on her fourth album with the group, Future Games. She would remain with the band through many lineup changes for the next several decades, generally writing and performing lead vocals on about half of the tracks on all of their subsequent studio albums, though she had partially retired in 1998 and only appeared as a session musician on the band's last studio album, Say You Will. She also released 3 solo studio albums. Steve Leggett of All Music described her as an unabashedly easy-on-the-ears singer-songwriter and the prime mover behind some of Fleetwood Mac's biggest hits. 8 songs written or co-written by her, including Don't Stop, Everywhere and Little Lies, appeared on Fleetwood Mac's 1988 Greatest Hits album. As a member of Fleetwood Mac, McVie was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and received the Brit Award for Outstanding Contribution to Music in 1998. The same year, after almost 30 years with the band, she opted to leave and lived in semi-retirement for nearly 15 years. She released a solo album in 2004. She appeared on stage with Fleetwood Mac at the O2 Arena in London in September 2013, before rejoining the band in 2014 prior to their On With The Show tour. McVie received a Gold Badge of Merit Award from BASCA, now the Ivors Academy, in 2006. She received the Ivor Novello Award for Lifetime Achievement from the British Academy of Songwriters, Composers and Authors in 2014 and was honoured with the Trailblazer Award at the UK Americana Awards in 2021. She was also the recipient of 2 Grammy Awards. So a bit of a sad week. A friend of mine, Penny Jones, runs a Fleetwood Mac tribute show, and all my love to her. And that's really, I wanted to play a little bit more low-key, get a little bit out there, still teach you stuff. But I'll love and leave you now. And of course I'm dedicating tonight's show to dear Christine McVie. So much part of our lives. We grew up with Fleetwood Mac, one of the biggest bands ever. So there we go. Take care, everyone. There we go. Nighty night. I'll have this up tomorrow. And there we go. Take care, hey? Oi. See ya. Hey.